toast to intimacy.
Yeah. And
Action.
All right. I'm Nate. This is my wife.
Kristen.
And together we are
Crate. So we're here today to talk about Married at First Sight, Season 18,
Episode 6.
Just a married couple who loves this show and likes talking about the dynamics of people and the psychology of relationships. So
Yeah. People are interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you see the best of people come out when they're the right people, and the worst of them in stressful situations.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe with them, or also just maybe in general.
And I think right is very subjective. So,
Mm-hmm.
Let's jump in to these couples. We are still on the honeymoon, towards the end of the honeymoon, and then we get back to the homes or to their regular life, or getting a little bit of sense of what it is to go back to their regular life. So let's hop in. First couple is Juan and Carla.
Juancho.
Juancho and Carlita. So let's see. Juan, at the beginning, we see that Juan and David are actually talking about how they went to the spa. They were walking around because David's been having a hard time.
But why? Why is he having a hard time?
Because his wife wants nothing to do with him, basically. Because he lives in the basement and he got a tattoo. He still has a tattoo of his ex-girlfriend, which is still kind of crazy to have that still, but...
And he just has different energy than Michelle does.
Yeah. But anyway, back to Juan and Carla. They dance, and they have this little beachside dinner. He tries out some accent, which I don't know what kind of accent
He's not very good at it. It was like French-ish.
Yeah. And he talks about his time with David at the spa. He talks about, man, I love David. And you can see Carla just getting annoyed. And he says that he almost forgot about her while he was at the spa.
I forgot about me.
And she locked in and was like, oh, you forgot about me? Well, I'm going to be a lot more, I don't know. She was like petty mood after that. So what do you think? Do you think that he should have, what do you think about him saying that he forgot about her?
Honestly, David's a cool guy. I don't see anything wrong with them hanging out, but it is their honeymoon, and although he was trying to cheer up his buddy, obviously, his wife should be number one. The way she handled it, though, was a little less mature than I would expect.
Mm-hmm.
And that unfolds a little bit later, too, in an interesting way, because they still are able to talk about it. She becomes passive-aggressive about getting back at him by forgetting something that he needed. And then, he just, and that kind of got to him. If you're mad, just tell me. I can't read your mind.
Yeah, the thing is, I feel like he has a lot of healthy communication. He will be like, hey, that's not cool. He doesn't get super upset, but he's just like, hey, you know,
smiling all the time.
Yeah, he's like that's not cool that you would be so passive aggressive to I don't know what did she do? She didn't give him a bag to put his clothes in after he went to the pool or something like that. And even though he had a bag, I don't know, she just forgot to bring it or something like that, or forgot because he forgot her. And it's just man, that's a little bit immature, but I hope that it's just more playful. I hope that that's not, her personality, her real personality, but we'll see.
Yeah, it was just weird because she's been the life of the party in all kinds of ways.
Yeah,
it's just interesting to see this side of her.
Yeah. We do see her have a persevering attitude, though. They do this photo shoot at the water, and there's this one where she has to be underwater, and she says she has never held her breath underwater before, which is how do you go, I don't know, 34 years without going to a pool? But anyway, that's not, I mean, Chicago. But,
True.
So she's about to give up, and then he really encourages her through it, and then they are able to get the shot or the picture. So it's good, and she appreciates how he was really patient with her. So that gives me hope, the fact that I think if for a different person other than Juan, he probably might blow up at the fact that she's just being so passive aggressive. But it seems like they're able to talk through those things and hopefully they can both grow in their communication style, and as they get used to each other, and they can just handle conflict as easily as they did.
Yeah, they do seem to have a back and forth about figuring out more of their communication style. And as passive aggressive as Carla was, they seem to be able to have a healthy conversation about it.
Yeah.
So that was hopeful for them.
Yeah.
So we still have hope for them. For sure.
Yeah. It seems very mindful of her. I was really surprised. I didn't know. I felt like he was just going to be one of those guys that I don't know. I assumed that he'd have another type of personality. And that's as a bias on my part, but he seems like he's really, caring. So.
Yeah, I remember we talked about just face value. He looks like someone you'd see on a criminal show. He's one of the suspects or something. Yeah, like a Law and Order or something. Yeah. But he seems genuine. He is a great communicator, and he can take a conversation in a good way. And he doesn't seem to harbor any kind of grudges or anything. He talks about it when it happens. And,
that's nice. She also talks about how it's going to take her 30 minutes to decompress after work. So, that he's I don't know how that's going to work for me. She said she'll say hi, but she doesn't want to, talk. And
because she does that all day, apparently, in her 3 jobs that she does.
Decompressing time. But I think, I don't know. It's all about compromise. And if they have kids and stuff like that, I don't know if she could just do that. And not to say that they don't have kids yet, but it's just I think, she's probably going to have to be more open to, those variables that happen. So I have hope for them, actually. I do really do. So, yeah. Okay. All right. Next couple, Madison and Alan.
It was interesting where their point of contact when they went on their date on their honeymoon was they went to a chakra shaman, some kind of Mexican shaman, which I've never heard of, but I'm sure it's everywhere, anywhere, where there's a spiritual, holistic kind of approach to talk about and somehow it does become psychological because they talk about each other's aura, energy, whatever. But I feel like psychology can really get into some of that with just you have this certain vibe about you, and then they kind of expose a little bit more about each other's personalities, and they own up to what the chakra claims is true for both of them. But also Alan isn't shy about taking a moment to be more physically in touch with
do
Madison.
The whole chest touch,
which is because she is a little less open. She's open to it, but she's less initiative about it. And he takes a go at it, and it doesn't go poorly. But do you remember what the chakra described about each of them?
The chakra, when she touches his head a lot, because he's and I'm she's kind of touching his head so much,
and then they pour water.
They say he's in his head a lot, and the chakra tells her that she needs to speak more and connect more to build trust because she's not so trusting. So she talks about the fact that she's open to connecting more during shared experiences that they're having now. And she says that she's learning that or with the group, I think they go and talk with the group, and they talk about how she's learning about Alan, that Alan is Alan, veggie boxers and all. And Alan appreciates how she isn't too judgy of him. Alan says when they're doing activities, that's when they're the closest. So I guess when they did the chakra thing, and they did the paddle boat. I don't the
Yeah, the paddle.
the pedal.
The swan. The weird
Yeah.
swan thing that always does the
Yeah.
paddle thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the next morning, he finds out that a good friend of his passed away, so he's been taking it hard. But he appreciated her support.
Yeah, she was really supportive. Like,
Well, we didn't really see what that
she
was.
was verbally very supportive.
Yeah,
of the fact that she was
on
supportive.
camera. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not to say that she's not. She seems like a nice person. She's not going to be so mean, like, to your face, but. Yeah.
Or behind. She always talks him up.
Yeah, that's true. And they talk about living together, and that they talk about how, you know, we have Vacation Alan and Vacation Madison, but that might be very different getting back into the flow of things. And they said there is where they're able to see, like, oh, will this work, or oh, will it not? I also noted that at the end of the day, at the end of their vacation, she actually makes a normal toast.
Yeah.
She's always the toaster.
It's always something like very suggestive.
Yeah.
But now she's like, till.
Yeah, it's always like bleep, bleep, bleep. But now it's like normal.
Good luck on the rest of your endeavors.
Yeah.
Kind
It's
of,
like, oh.
that kind of platitude.
Yeah. So she says she wants, when they get home, she has an honest talk with him, with Alan. She talks about how she wants somebody that's going to actively take care of themselves. Somebody's going to the gym. And Alan says that, you know, I do go to the gym, just not all the time, but sometimes I do like handy stuff, or like, you know, I like exercise like by like handling the drill.
When you have to like screw a light bulb in, like it really works your core.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm physically fit, but I'm not like buff. That's the essence of what he was saying. But you could tell like she's really about the gym. Like she always has her arms out, or like her, you know, she's pretty in good shape, and she could tell that it's a big part of her personality, and it's just not his. Yeah, it's not his priority to say that.
Yeah, she also says his outfits are not exactly his style, which we knew. She's been talking about that forever. So she says little changes in that might help her out with attraction.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, at least he's open to that. You know, you're not gonna love everything about your partner, but you know, maybe there's give and take a bit, especially if it will help somebody out with like building that, you know, attraction. But there's a fine line, I think, too, between telling somebody what they might not like and don't like, but then, or just not, you know, just not really wanting to be around them ever because of their personality. So there's the fine line. So they're trying to find that.
But we'll see if he can make that happen. He's tried everything. He's tried vegetables. He's also tried fruit. This season, or this episode, he had watermelon boxers and something else, but it just didn't jive with her for some reason.
Broccoli you're talking about?
Well, this episode, he had fruit.
Oh.
I don't know why. Like, it's not my focus, but someone always brings it up.
Yeah.
So maybe just a different. There's nothing edible on the boxers apparently.
Yeah. And so the last thing that we see about them is that Madison is out late for happy hour. She says, "Oh, I'm not gonna be gone for that long," and then it's like 3 hours later, and he's just sitting by himself at the hot tub. He's saying, "I wish my wife was here to join me." First of all, why is she going happy hour without him? Like that's their first like outing. Where is she going with just some girls? Like
girls' night, but
I don't know.
Who knows how that goes in Chicago?
That's kind of not. That's not the best foot to start out. I don't know what she's doing over there. Maybe she doesn't want to be seen with him.
I don't know. Maybe she also just needs to regroup with her friends in Chicago. Yeah. This episode was interesting because they leaned into the transition from the honeymoon to their first night in their apartment.
Yeah.
And you're right, to like step out on the first night to go out with the girls or to happy hour or whatever that was. Yeah. I mean, he wasn't in the worst situation because he was in a hot tub on the rooftop in Chicago.
Yeah, but still, it's just like
you could tell he was missing her.
Yeah, she could have brought him there. I think she's embarrassed right now to be with him, so that's sucks.
And you know, it was day in day out on the honeymoon, so maybe she didn't need
needed
that break.
She needed a break. Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
So the next couple is MM and Ikechi or Ike.
I'm still not buying it from Ike. I'm still not buying it.
Yeah, they do a little toast to intimacy.
Yeah. Like that.
Yeah.
It was so kind of like, well, what intimacy are they referring to?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, like intimacy doesn't always have to be physical. There could be connection on values and, you know, life goals and all the, you know, like being vulnerable with each other. That, I mean, I feel like people often overextend intimacy to only mean like physical intimacy.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is some friendliness, but she still seems like she's in the homie zone.
She is in the
Not
homie
the
zone,
end, not the friend zone, but the
because
homie zone.
She says to intimacy, and he says definitely.
Yeah.
So
same.
it's just like, oh. I still feel like time in, time out, he's just giving like 10 and she's always giving 100. So they talk about what's brought them the most joy this year. He says, what brought me the most joy is having a niece, and what brought her the most joy is having success in her practice. I really wants kids. He's even broken up with people who have not wanted kids. MM says she's open, which I don't know what that always means. It's like saying you're open. It's like I could go either way, but I probably am not planning to. But like if you want to, if it happens,
yeah.
Like so. I mean, I guess that's okay. So he wants a baby girl.
Yeah, he did lead with that. And if she's not feeling as strongly about that, I feel like later he might use this as an excuse.
Yeah, I think so. Because I think she'd want to. She doesn't strike me as somebody who's just like super against it.
Yeah.
So, but he probably would use like, I need somebody excited to have kids. That's how he's going to dip later. But, you know, we'll see. I saw that they go to this pink restaurant. It looks cute. We gotta go. But that was in Mexico, so I don't know.
Yeah,
so,
we can go to Mexico.
Yeah, we are gonna go. Yeah. He asked about how she likes to be loved. She said that she likes physical touch, and
Which is lacking.
Yeah.
Which is lacking.
Yeah. She talked about how they both been in love once, or like in the past, like she had love, but it feels like he was in love with his ex-fiance 12 years ago. They are both open to the opportunity of falling in love again, and. MM doesn't really have any examples of like that love. He has examples like his sister, I believe.
Yeah, family.
Yeah. She said she doesn't cook during Thanksgiving and Christmas. And same.
Another excuse for him to be like, peace.
Yeah.
You don't cook?
Yeah.
You don't want kids? Peace.
Yeah. Ike says I thought it was funny that Ike says to the cameras, not to her, that his feelings are growing quickly, and he's like, I just gotta follow the syllabus. It's like you're talking about feelings and syllabus in the same sentence. It's giving like, I've seen this show before, I want to follow like I guess just this kind of plot, like I've studied this, I'm gonna follow this script.
To be fair though, that's probably just in his vocabulary as a teacher. And like, you know, this is the plan of how to do the things. And applying it to a relationship, it just seems too formulaic.
Yeah, it's also giving formula, yeah.
But I think we're biased against him because we already don't trust him. And just words like that kind of like prime us to like be more against him.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
To play devil's advocate, maybe he's just using his vocabulary from his job.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just want to be fair. Like, I don't think it's impossible that something happens or builds between them. But at this point, like, chemistry is one-sided.
Yeah, it is. I agree about that. But even she tries to cuddle with him. He's like scoots away, and he's like, "Oh, my mom was watching. My mom was watching." And it's like, okay, yeah, didn't you know that everybody's gonna be watching this show? Like,
yeah.
I think that's a cop out and everything. So I know it's supposed to be a playful moment, but even in that, it's just like, I don't like that.
Like, it's her going 100% and him going 0 or 10%.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is more of that.
Right. Yeah. He says he doesn't want to be physical until the realest of real moments, which I don't really know what that means.
Yeah.
And it's so vague, and it's like he's probably just gonna keep pushing the goalposts.
It's a decision.
Yeah, he says his concern is that, you know, the energy that they have right now is gonna be lost in the sauce after they get back. And I know, like, that's the plan. Like, I think that's the syllabus, that's the formula for me that I feel like he's going to fall into, or not fall into, just that's the next page of his plan.
Yeah.
I think. So.
Who make him sound diabolical?
He is a
master
little.
grand strategy. His exit strategy.
I don't know. Yeah, that's how I feel. But
I bet he's going to use the kids thing as the exit strategy.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah. All righty. Yeah. On to the next.
By the way, did we see them in their day to day?
Did we see them in their day to day?
They
were folding clothes and stuff like that.
Oh, when they were leaving.
No. This is when they were actually back home. They were folding their clothes and things like that.
Oh, and unpacking.
Yeah.
He said something too. They're like, "Oh, I can't believe this."
Mm-hmm.
But like, what does that mean? Like,
yeah, it's giving. I'm saying things, but I'm not like feeling them. But you know, we won't know until the season is
Or he
revealed.
can't believe he's just tracked with this woman.
Yeah. So more to find out. So we go on to Michelle and David. So actually, it's interesting. I thought they were just going to call it quits there.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess she decides to continue to try. She says to anybody who would listen, he's not the husband I pictured. To him, to the cameras, to everybody else. But he's a nice guy, so she wants to keep it casual for the sake of the honeymoon.
Like she was like a Disney princess talking to all the animals.
Yeah.
But about how her husband was not the right one.
He's not the right one.
Yeah. To everybody, yeah, producers, everybody, yeah. But you're right. She did turn a leaf where you could tell that she's trying. She doesn't have that psycho killer smile. It's like, you're not
keep interrupting me.
But you can tell she's trying.
Yeah.
And David's pulling back a little bit. He's reading the room a little bit more with her. And they're in the same space at the same time without her shutting down and him trying to like backpedal and make things work.
Yeah.
They seem to be having a genuinely good time.
Yeah. They acknowledge they can't change their ways overnight because they talk about how, you know, she's kind of more stubborn, he's kind of a lot. They can't change their ways overnight. They actually go paddleboarding. They have a good time on the paddleboards. David falls into the water at least twice. And Michelle...
She gets a kick out of that.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
I'm sure she does. And then they also do the sushi making together. And that's not really David's thing, but he kind of sacrifices for her because, you know, it's like, man, I want to be immersed, you know, in my wife's interests in world. So that's nice. And he doesn't really eat fish, which same. But you know that he tried it and he liked it.
It's salmon. This is like the best fish you can try. It's the most. Yeah. Another thing too is like he can't use chopsticks.
Yeah.
And although she was giving to him like the grace that he deserves, like he doesn't know these things and he's trying. At least he's trying. He's giving an effort, and she sees that.
Yeah.
On the other hand, though, she's also seeing how uncultured he is compared to her, and I feel like that's kind of going to widen the gap. That's already there.
She doesn't seem that phased. He's like, I never used chopsticks before. She's just like,
I don't know. That's her exit strategy. I'm just saying that you can't even use chopsticks.
Yeah, right, exactly. She tells him that he cusses a lot. He says he's gonna.
He does.
Yeah, everything other word he says.
He's always like this. Yeah, I could blank with this. Every 3 words.
She opens up a little bit talking about her grandparents. So I don't know. I feel like you just to throw a bone. And I feel like talking about grandparents is easy. It's like 2 generations up from your parents. So it's like, okay, let me throw you a bone. But I mean, I guess it was still nice that they were having a conversation. They actually had a conversation without getting like upset with each other, her walking out or him walking out.
But that's a door to his values, is like talking about family and like closeness, and because culturally, I feel like she's really overlooking that living with family or near family is culturally like the thing to do.
Yeah.
In some cultures, but she just sees it as from her own culture, like how that's like a what's wrong with you kind of thing. Like is either it's a financial thing or like a stability kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which, granted, like in a marriage, you want that security, you want this and that. So to play on her side, like you can see where she's coming from, but she's also not seeing some of the cultural things.
Yeah.
Later, like we preview what it looks like when they see their apartment, and they designate separate spaces to sleep in, and then her previewing his apartment, his downstairs apartment from his parents, and he asked the question. Do you remember the question? Did you expect seeing this? Did you see anything different than you expected? And she was like, "No, this is honestly what I expected." And she has a talking head.
Yeah.
Like, this is something I would expect from a 20-year-old, not a 36-year-old.
Yeah.
So it's like for every step forward is like 10 steps back.
Yeah. So.
That's for next episode though. So.
Yeah, and she also says something like she thinks that the couples, when they're about to go back to Chicago, when they're still in Cancun, she says, I think the couples are more anxious than they're putting on. It's like she wants everybody to be miserable with her. So I just like, oh, that's kind of like, I mean, I get that sometimes, but it's just like to say it, like you can have those thoughts in your mind, but I feel like saying it is kind of, like...
It seems like she's not wishing well for others so that she can be more comfortable with where she's at.
Yeah, I feel like she wants to bring people down, which is never really a good sign. Like when you're especially voicing that, I can see you battling that in your mind, but to actually say that, it's just like, oh, man.
It'd be hard to be in her circle.
Yeah.
Without understanding her, I feel like that'd be hard to just sit there and hear that.
Yeah. So the last couple we'll talk about is Camille and Thomas.
The best couple, our favorite.
Our favorite. So they take a salsa dance class together, and Thomas wants to demonstrate that he's assertive and can take the lead, which is what she wants.
That's what she's described to him before.
Yeah.
So he's really taken a step into that.
Yeah, and he kind of like, he has his own kind of style, which is like, that's your area, you live there.
Yeah, the Kevin James from The Hitch.
Yeah.
It was like shuffling the feet. Staying in the corner of the dance floor. Yeah. Or what was the other one? The Carlton.
Yeah. So she says his dancing is unique, but at least he tries.
Yeah.
Like they have fun. Like he hits his head on like a lamp, and they laugh about it. So they just keep it light, keep it cute.
And he does. He asks her to pick an outfit for him in the beginning of the day.
That's nice.
And they have a cute little flirty moment.
Yeah, and she talks about wearing lingerie, which he doesn't pressure her to wear it. He says he doesn't forget. It's a little bit awkward, but like I guess that scene. But at least they're like open to like, I don't know. They're talking about things that would open the door to like that intimacy, and which they say they're still trying to figure out. Yeah. Furthermore, she talks about how she is used to more of an urban guy. He's kind of giving more suburban vibes, which is code for like, I guess, kind of like not culturally black, like kind of more culturally white, I guess. And yeah, she's more used to R&B smoothness, she says. So yeah, and I kind of feel bad for Thomas. She did express that to him, which I'm glad that she was honest about that. But he says he's on his own talking head, and they make it seem like there's all this drama about it, but he's on his own little self-cam saying that
he took it personally.
Yeah.
More than he would have before.
Yeah.
But it's in a new relationship. It's so like things are heightened a little bit.
Yeah. He just wants to feel good enough. And I hear that.
Yeah, because like the subtext being like just their cultural upbringing, but also I feel like that might have made him feel even a little bit worse because like he also has a whole abandonment stuff with learning in his 30s that he was adopted.
Yeah, in your 30s, that's crazy.
Yeah, and just maybe not feeling good enough from that. Just hearing that from his now wife might have been hard.
Yeah. But it seems like, being biracial, also he never really felt black enough too. It seems like they are able to find that common ground again. They acknowledge that they still have like the same core values, so that's good. You don't always need to have every single thing background in common. I mean, hey, we're different backgrounds. We come from different places.
But we share like 99% of everything else. No.
I don't know about 99, but I think that
I guess
like,
I'm suburban.
There's having those same core values mean a lot more than, you know, having that same background. And I'm not saying that it's not, you know, important, but yeah, I think that they acknowledge that they still feel like they have a connection going and they want to explore that. So
yeah. And that's brought up too, like when they come back from, I think it's the end of the day, I suppose, and where there's supposed to be that moment of connection.
Yeah.
Where maybe she was gonna wear the lingerie. Instead, she was wearing what looked like his t-shirt.
Yeah.
Or something else. But like, we were talking about, like, why would you like put yourself through that on camera anyway?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's
I
not
feel
like
that'd
it would
be
have
awkward
happened.
to wear the lingerie on camera, because it was like kind of spicy too. So I was like, yeah, you probably shouldn't wear that on the camera. Like, it probably was just awkward anyway. So
Her mom was watching.
Yeah, her mom was watching. Yeah. So when they go home, they like explore their house a little bit. They actually kind of like, they're walking around seeing the house, and they actually kind of like step into the shower fully clothed, you know, but they just to see like how
they would fit.
Yeah, how they would fit in the shower. And I thought that was cool. It's like, oh wow, that's something that they plan
They really are
to
serious
do.
about
So
exploring.
that was nice. And they said they were gonna have a code for when they go number 2.
Light a match or something.
Yeah. And then,
because it's different for her. She's never lived with anyone.
Yeah, she hasn't. He's lived. Did he live with his ex?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, he's lived with somebody before, and they also have a sit down conversation about like he doesn't want her to be afraid to hurt his feelings. Like he'd rather know, and they're both conflict avoidant, and they're just both trying to grow in that. And I just feel like that's
us.
That's us. I feel like, you know, we've definitely grown in that. You know, both being, you know, conflict avoidant, and I've grown in hurting your feelings. I'm just kidding.
This side is entirely bruised. You can't see that. No. No, it's definitely. I think that's why they're our favorite, because we see ourselves in them a little bit, because it is difficult when two people are conflict avoidant, where like life is conflict, and you know you can't really get through it without talking about it, and you know navigating it together actually helps you to grow. So we'll see how that goes for them in this apartment when they live together.
So yeah, those are the couples. We hope that you know you had a good time watching this review and watching the show as much as we do. And we will see you next week for episode 7.
Until next time, and cut.